Welcome to 5 Minicons, where legends come to life in just 5 minutes. Today, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, born February 12, 1809, near Hodgeville, Kentucky, died April 15, 1865, in Washington, D.C. He was one of the most important presidents of the United States. He was elected president in 1860 and won re-election in 1864. He successfully led the northern states through the Civil War against the Confederate States of America and abolished slavery. In 1865, he fell victim to an assassination. But in order. Abraham Lincoln grew up on a farm in Kentucky and later in Indiana. There was hardly any schooling, and Abraham Lincoln taught himself to read, write, and do math. In 1831, Abraham Lincoln moved to New Salem, Illinois. There, he worked as a clerk, surveyor, and postmaster. In 1834, at the age of 25, he successfully ran for the House of Representatives and became Speaker of the Treasury Committee. During his parliamentary work, he completed disciplined self-study in law and was admitted to the bar in 1836. The following year, he spoke publicly about the abolition of slavery for the first time. In 1842, he married Mary Todd, who came from a wealthy family in Kentucky. They had 4 children. The 3 youngest children died in infancy. The eldest son, Robert Todd Lincoln, was later politically active as well and also practiced law. In 1856, Abraham Lincoln joined the newly formed Republican Party. He made a name for himself as a gifted orator and ran for a seat in the Senate in 1858. He lost the election to Democrat Stephen A. Douglas. In May 1860, Republicans selected Abraham Lincoln as their presidential nominee. One of his opponents was Stephen A. Douglas again. Abraham Lincoln was elected 16th President of the United States on November 6, 1860. In protest against the election results, a host of southern states left the Union before Lincoln was even sworn in and formed an independent confederation. They were afraid that Lincoln would also outlaw slavery in the southern states. As a result, the American Civil War began in April of 1861. During the war, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862 and declared all slaves in the Confederate States free men, a milestone. The real turning point in the American Civil War in favor of the northern states came in 1863, with their victory at the Battle of Gettysburg. Abraham Lincoln's subsequent speech in front of 150,000 people in Gettysburg is still considered a rhetorical masterpiece and one of the most important documents in American history. It begins thus. 77 years ago, our fathers founded a new nation on this continent, dedicated to the principle that all men are created equal. And it ends with a reconciling appeal to all Americans, Northern and Southern alike. That we solemnly resolve here that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall experience a rebirth of liberty, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the face of the earth. Unfortunately, Abraham Lincoln only lived to see the end of the war for a few days. Actor John Wilkes Booth gained access to the theater box where Lincoln was sitting with his wife Mary and shot him in the back of the head on April 14, 1865. Lincoln died a day later without ever regaining consciousness. He was the first U.S. president to be assassinated. Abe Lincoln was a man of great insight, humor, and wit. Countless quotes of his prove that simple language does not necessarily come from a simple mind. Here are some examples of Lincoln's mind in his own words. Folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Or, in a more serious tone, do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? And one last quote, dealing with the issue that caused the Civil War. Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. Abraham Lincoln was one of the most important presidents of the United States of America. He drove American industrialization, which made America a world power. He freed the slaves, he saved his country from falling apart, and he became a symbol of redemption through his assassination. So much for Abraham Lincoln. Welcome to 5 Minicons, where in just 5 minutes we bring you the real-life stories behind the world's most remarkable people.